So we're kind of excited about this. It's always nice to have something new. And what you can see here is a simple campaign, but there's something different about what we can do here, which is that we're going to look at the Salesforce approval process. You'll notice that this addition here has been approved. So what we're doing is we're actually now going to allow organizations that want to use the Salesforce approval process to go ahead and allow that to control the content that is sent out. So not just anybody can send any email, it can actually go through an approval process. They don't have to use that because obviously smaller organizations don't need that level of control, but there are some instances where brand communications are critical and people want to have that say. Also, what you're going to see is what we call the e-maker. So it's the same interface here in Salesforce, but when somebody goes in to edit their edition, you're going to see a new UI that's designed specifically for the more novice user. So someone who doesn't know a thing about HTML or email design can be given a template and then easily just put the content in that they need and send it and not worry about does it meet branding or creatives okay, because they have a limited canvas in which they can work but still send out a designed email. And then finally, what I'll do is I'm going to cover what we have currently live in production. It's called engagement activities. And engagement activities allow you to track web clicks and report on that inside of Salesforce. But a lot of people don't seem to know that we have it, so I wanted to cover that again today. So I'm going to go ahead and start up here with, again, this is a new email editing function that allows a novice user to easily send mail. Right now, I'm just going and creating a new edition inside of this campaign. Right, we use the campaign object as our mailing list. So we have a list here, a bunch of test members, but then also some live members that we'll send to. And this person, let's just pretend they're going in to create their content. Again, they don't know anything about email. All they know is they've been told you need to send this, put the message in, and get it out. And so here you can see that they have a limited grouping of content that they can send from. They have a couple of templates that they can choose from. And then what they can also do is put in a message. And so here it's, again, designed for the novice user. They're grabbing a template and then they can go ahead and put in this, please learn more about this content. And then they go ahead and save it. And what we do is we insert it right in here. And then this is going to use the same typography, the same look and feel as the rest of the content. They just can't control this. So this has already been, set up by Creative. They've already written it. They put in their link. Everything is already there for them. But the more sort of rookie user can just go ahead and put their personalized message and send this out. Subject line and pre-header. Again, a slightly easier interface right here. It's just one page. I don't have to go through. Currently, our process is a multi-step process. For the novice user, just having one page to deal with is can sometimes be a lot better. Start and end date, same as we have today, except again, all on one page. The idea is to provide something that's just a little bit more efficient for people to use. Still have to test it. Right, that's still a requirement that someone actually look at what they're going to send. Oh, that's always exciting. Why did that just happen? Hold on. I probably need to hit save. me try a different template that.
Beth, can I ask a quick question?
Yes.
So, in terms of the templates, does this change like how they can get templates? Is it going to be easier for people to have like starting templates, or do they still have to create those?
They still need to create those, but we offer, we certainly offer that function, that service. We get
Hmm.
people started all the time. We have a lot of
Okay.
clients that, we'll design those initial templates for them. Um,
Okay.
we have like a Kickstarter is what we call it.
Hmm.
It ranges from 500 to 2,500, depending on the amount of templates they need and the complexity.
Hmm. Okay.
So,
Thank you.
yep. Okay. So I had to choose a different template. There was something wrong with the other one. Um, but now you can see that this one has come in. You can see that here's their message, and then everything else is right there. It's already been designed for them. They don't need to think about any of it. And then they can activate it. But in this instance, we have required that it be approved. You don't have to have that on. Having this eMaker UI does not require an approval process because that can slow things down. But if they do need it, then we can turn that on. An email will be sent to a address that the client specifies, so that way they always have a copy of it. Right? They have a copy of what is it that we are approving, and what's the date when that approval email was sent. So that way there's at least a hard copy of the thing that's being approved. Um, and then what happens is when it's submitted for approval, back in Salesforce world, we have triggered the approval process. Now, this is controlled internally. It's up to the client what kind of approval process they want, and they do that through Salesforce. This is not, at this point, we have handed off from Predictive to um, to Salesforce, and we're no longer in control of this part because Salesforce has done this really well. So then, whoever needs to approve it, they can say yes, it's been approved, or no. They can also reject it, and then we will not allow that email to be sent. But if they approve it, then the email changes from being it needs to be submitted for approval to it's now active. And actually now you can see when's the next send going to happen. Any questions so far about that? Oh, and I see. Okay, you do templates come out of the box? Yeah, and actually, it's funny. As I was talking, I got a note from one of our designers. We do have 14 sort of out of the box templates that will be coming, and they can certainly select those, add their own logo and their colors, and they'll be off and running. And we have that now, but not as many. So we'll be adding more to our stable of templates. And then the templates themselves, they can then be accessed through this tab, and you can control what's been approved and what's been enabled. And so that way you can limit what people see based on whether or not it's been approved and enabled. So this happens at the designer level, at the creative direction level. You can have hundreds of templates, but decide that only certain ones are approved and enabled at a certain time. And so that way the email at the end user who's just been tasked with, hey, send that mail, they have, again, a limited subset to choose from. And then in the same way that you create templates today, you can do that through our existing UI. So that hasn't really changed. You can still, use the drag and drop editor to create your templates. And then that's what becomes available through here. Any questions? And then, they can send the mail and out it goes. Okay, so that's our coming. And here you can see my test, or actually these are live members, are getting the mail. And you can still have, I know they're not that interesting, but this is just a merge, right? So the end user decided to go ahead and put in the merge field like first name. They still have that ability to use those merge fields. Okay, so that's a coming feature. That'll be live tomorrow in our production environment. It does need to be turned on. It doesn't just happen. But if a client wants this functionality, they can go ahead and request it, and we can get it turned on. It comes with our enterprise system right now. So just let us know if you have a client that needs that functionality. Okay, so now, unless there's any questions about that, I'm going to go ahead and let me just see if anybody put in a question through the chat window. No, okay. I'm going to go ahead and show you our existing engagement activities. And so engagement activities allow you to, let me just drag in a different window, to start reporting on the data that we display in our current UI. So currently, contacts and leads inside of Salesforce have predictive data. They have email engagement and web activity that shows up coming technically from our server. It looks like it's inside of Salesforce, but it's actually not. It's not being stored there. There's no, so you can't report on it. And so we had a lot of people saying, hey, how do we want to report on who's clicking on which pages? And so now what we have are engagement activities where we take that same information and we create Salesforce records. So here you can see back on June 28th, there were a couple pages looked at. Those are now, here are those June 28th pages, those are now Salesforce records that can be reported on. And so the question of, hey, did somebody click on an email that was sent, a couple months ago? The answer is yes. Now you can do that. And you can then report on it. So in this case, this is a report of web pages that have been looked at and by which Salesforce contacts or leads, who's looking at these, and what are our most popular web pages. So here it's a simple Salesforce chart. You can see these are the popular web pages. I had the benefit of just saying other for those that are, maybe they only got one click, but in the granularity, you can click down and see who's looking at, the account executive or the anti-spam policy, who's looking at these pages, and then start making decisions on retargeting. Most of the clients that are using this now, they're finding it really useful to have it for retargeting. Anybody that looks at a particular page, let's go ahead and add them to a follow-up email campaign or call campaign, because we know that they looked at that page, and so that's showing us that they have a high level of interest. And then you can obviously click down and see who's this person and what other what other pages are they looking at. And then also we have our email ROI, which shows you, using similar data, which activity has led to an opportunity. So which email was sent just before an opportunity closed. So those are two of the sort of data features that we find that some of our clients who are using it love it, but not enough of our partners seem to know that we even have it. So I wanted to just refresh people's mind on that. Is there any question about engagement activities or the email ROI?